Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about Nexus for online sellers. At the time of this video, we're going into Q4. This is when a lot of people jump into e-commerce. This is the Super Bowl season, right? This is the money spendingest time in the United States. You are either on the swiping side or the ringing side of the cash register during this time of the year. You've got going through back to school. Next is Halloween. Then you got Thanksgiving. You got Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, New Year's, and a whole bunch of stuff in between, right? So this is the time of the year. The fourth quarter is when in the United States, everybody is spending their money. All right. But with that, though, and especially with a lot of people jumping into e-commerce during this time of year, it's important to have this discussion about Nexus and sales tax. If you did not know, the South Dakota v. Wayfair decision that happened in June of 2018, it really changed the landscape of this whole sales tax thing. And so this is why we're going to talk about it, really. Okay. So let's talk about Nexus. Now, I will be honest with you. I am a geek. The first time I heard the word Nexus, I was watching Star Trek. Okay. So when somebody said something about Nexus, and I'm sitting here like, how in the world is Nexus on Star Trek? Yeah, totally not the same thing. Okay. But, the general definition of Nexus, okay, is that it is a central link or a connection. That is what Nexus means. So as it relates to e-commerce, what is your link to a particular state? Now, you can have two types of Nexus is. You can actually add an ES, and that is a proper plural. It's just hard to say. But anyway, you can have two types. There's the physical nexus and there's the economic nexus. Now, so let's look at the physical nexus first, because that's what a lot of online retailers know about is the physical nexus, although it did catch some people by surprise. So the physical nexus is just that, where you have a physical presence in a state and you're operating. Now, that physical presence can be you, the retail store owner, and the state in which you live, because that's where you're operating your business out of that state. That creates a physical nexus. If you store your goods, your inventory in a warehouse in a different state, then you now have a physical nexus in another state. Amazon was really good for this, for creating a physical presence in lots of states. I can tell you this as an FBA seller. I had inventory in New Jersey, Virginia, California. It was crazy. I had inventory everywhere. Okay. So if you store your inventory in a warehouse in another state, that creates a physical nexus. If you have an employee who works for you in a different state, then that can create a physical nexus. And I state employee, not an independent contractor. So if you have a connection to your business operating in a state, that creates a physical nexus, and that can require you to collect and pay sales tax to that particular state. Now, most people get that part. Okay. Now, with the South Dakota versus Wayfair decision, we have economic nexus that now comes into play. And what that economic nexus is if you're selling stuff in a state, because of the South Dakota v. Wayfair decision, the states can say, pay up, baby. That means you as a retailer have to collect and remit that sales tax to the state. Now, the thing about economic nexus is that we got 50 different states and 50 different sets of rules. When the South Dakota v. Wayfair was decided, South Dakota set, what their bar is. They set their threshold for creating economic nexus. Okay. A lot of states followed. Some of them didn't. For instance, Kansas, starting October 1st, 2019, will have a no minimum sales tax threshold. That means they don't care if you sell $1 worth of product in the state of Kansas, you need to pay that sales tax. Okay, so there is no minimum. There are states where they've got $100,000, 200 transactions. There's, again, 50 different states, 50 different sets of rules. So, so you might have economic nexus, sales tax nexus in one state and not in another. Okay, but because we are, the internet and e-commerce, you can sell absolutely anywhere. And also, the other thing that I really want you to be mindful of is that this also applies to people who are outside of the United States that sell within the United States. You are still bound by these economic sales tax laws. So just because you don't live here in the United States does not mean that you don't owe sales tax to particular states in the United States. And also for us US sellers, there are other countries that also have sales tax laws that if you're selling in their country, you need to abide by those laws. It's just that simple. So it is a misconception that that Nexus, as it relates to sales tax, is just strictly a U.S. thing. It is not. There are other countries that have that same thing going on, and there are people that operate from outside the United States that sell inside the United States that that also have to abide by these laws. Now, the way that this is now, and what I stress to everyone, is that the states are really going after the big fish, right? You're looking at the people with these huge Amazon stores. And I mean, there are people who make millions and millions of dollars with selling stuff online with e-commerce. It's a very lucrative it's a lucrative profession. It is what it is, right? But now there is states are now enacting more laws for that are going to require you to adjust how you do business. Before the Wayfair decision, online sellers get up here and sell without worry. Now that's changing. So like I said, even though states start at the big fish, the big, huge corporations and stuff, that's not where they stay. So I really encourage you now to not ignore this, to really put that in your plan as far as your e-commerce goes, because, it's not just the huge platforms. You have people that also sell from their own websites that, you still got to abide by those laws too. Is why I tell you to outsource this stuff, because you ain't got time to be trying to figure out, do I need to file sales tax in this state and that state and all that? You ain't got time for that. There's also a multi-state registry that's really streamlined, that you can go and register to pay sales tax, and you fill out one form and it hits a couple states. I'll add that link. I completely forgot about that. Let me make a note. Okay. So going into the new year, if you're just jumping into e-commerce, this is definitely something that concerns you. If you've been in e-commerce for a while and you've been building and selling, this concerns you. If you are really bossing out in e-commerce, then you're probably already on this. But if you're not, I highly, highly, highly suggest you get this under control. Okay. So that's it for for this episode of Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, and you can come right here and get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right. Have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.